Hello, and welcome to Calm Mind. If your thoughts won't clock out, you're in the right place. Tonight, we're gently unpacking what your brain has been doing behind the scenes. It means well. It just works a little too hard sometimes. So I'll offer you some truths, and we'll let your nervous system exhale where it needs to. If these gentle journeys feel meaningful to you, you're welcome to stay connected. Leave a comment and subscribe. It helps other restless minds find their way here too. But for now, there's nothing to do but relax. You are not broken. That needs to be the very first thing said tonight. Because if you're here, there's a real chance some part of you has quietly wondered. Maybe not in those exact words. Maybe it shows up more sideways. A feeling that other people don't have to work this hard just to exist inside their own heads. A low hum of exhaustion from carrying thoughts that multiply before you've even finished the first one. A faint suspicion that your brain got a slightly faulty update and nobody told you. It didn't. You are not broken. You are human. And the particular kind of human who ends up here, the one who thinks deeply, feels everything fully, and hasn't quite figured out how to slow the whole engine down yet. You are not a malfunction. You are, honestly, someone whose mind is working very, very hard. Too hard, maybe, but hard in a way that actually makes sense once you understand what's happening underneath. So before we go any further, I want you to hear this clearly. The goal tonight is not to fix you. There is nothing to fix. The goal is simply to help your nervous system remember that it's allowed to exhale. To remind the part of you that has been running at full capacity, bless it, it's been giving everything, that there is room, right now, to slow down, to settle, to let the weight of the day soften just a little. You came to the right place. And the fact that you're here tells me something important about you. You are trying, and trying, genuinely, is more than enough. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Here's a truth that might feel a little strange at first. Overthinking isn't a flaw in your design. It's actually a feature, an ancient one. Your brain has a department, a very enthusiastic, extremely over-time-logged, never takes a lunch break department, whose entire job is to scan for problems before they happen. It runs simulations. It replays scenarios. It asks, but what if, approximately 400 times a day, and then, just for fun, asks it 400 more. And the reason it does this isn't because something went wrong in the wiring. It's because, for a very long time in human history, the people who thought ahead survived. The ones who heard a rustling in the bushes and immediately ran through 12 possible explanations, and prepared for all 12, tended to make it through. Your brain inherited that skill. It just hasn't quite gotten the memo that the bushes are now mostly just bushes, and that the threat is often an unread email or a text that says, "Can we talk?" with no further context. Rude, by the way. Genuinely rude. So when your thoughts spiral, try asking, what is my brain trying to protect me from? The answer won't always be logical, but it will almost always be kind. Your brain is on your side. It just sometimes works a double shift when a single one would absolutely do. Overthinking and intelligence are neighbors. Not the same thing, but they share a fence and borrow each other's tools. This is something people don't talk about enough. The minds that tend to overthink are often the same minds that catch details others miss, make connections across seemingly unrelated things, and can hold 10 perspectives at once while feeling the weight of each one. That's not a coincidence. It's correlation. The brain that can think deeply can also spiral deeply. The same capacity that lets you understand nuance, feel empathy at volume, and anticipate consequences is the same capacity that keeps you up at 2 a.m. turning a sentence you said 3 days ago over and over in your hands, trying to figure out if it landed wrong. It's like having a high-performance engine and then being surprised it runs hot. The engine isn't the problem. What's needed is a destination. Because without one, a powerful engine just spins, and spinning produces a lot of heat without actually going anywhere, which is exhausting in ways that are very hard to explain to people whose engines run a little quieter. What you need isn't a smaller engine. You need to trust yourself to steer it somewhere worth going. Tonight, that's exactly what we're practicing, not shutting the engine off, but pointing it somewhere soft. Feeling uncertain is not the same as being in danger. Your nervous system has a beautiful, sometimes deeply inconvenient quirk. It doesn't always distinguish well between emotional discomfort and actual physical threat. When something feels uncertain, a relationship, a decision, a future that won't settle into clear shapes, your body can respond like you're facing an oncoming vehicle. Your chest tightens. Your thoughts accelerate. Your muscles brace. You start scanning for exits, even when you're just sitting on your sofa in your pajamas. None of this is overreacting. It's your body doing what it was built to do, protect you, in a situation that doesn't quite match the software. Your nervous system is running threat detection firmware from approximately 50,000 years ago, and it hasn't been updated for ambiguous text response or unclear performance review. The truth is, uncertainty is uncomfortable, not dangerous, not unbearable, just uncomfortable. And discomfort, unlike danger, can be moved through. It can be breathed through. It can be held gently until it shifts. Safety doesn't require resolution. It requires the quiet knowledge, built up slowly, over time, that you can be in the not knowing and still be okay. So when your brain starts treating an unanswered question like an oncoming car, pause, breathe, whisper to yourself, "This is uncomfortable, not dangerous. I have sat with this before, and I'm still here. You are probably more than a little tired. Not just sleepy tired, though maybe that too. I mean the particular kind of tired that comes from spending years thinking harder than most people around you, feeling more, and carrying a running internal monologue that simply does not have an off switch. That kind of tired lives in the bones. It lives in the shoulders, up near the neck, in that small persistent tension that never quite releases. It's the tiredness of a brain that never truly clocked out, that spent every commute analyzing, every shower problem solving, every quiet moment fielding the queue of things it still needed to sort through. Some of you know immediately what I mean. Not just tired from today. Tired from years of performing I'm fine while carrying a whole internal infrastructure of worry and anticipation and self-monitoring that no one could see. A kind of exhaustion that sleep doesn't always fix, because the exhaustion isn't only in the body, it's in the effort, the constant, invisible effort of it all. Here is what I want to say about that tiredness. It is not a personal failing. It is not evidence that you're fragile. It's evidence that you've been working incredibly hard, mostly invisibly, for a very long time. Rest isn't a reward you have to earn. It's a biological necessity you've been postponing. Tonight, we begin to pay some of that debt back. The loop in your head is looking for resolution. Here's something useful to understand about thought loops. They are not random. They have a logic. They keep circling back to the same things, the same conversation, the same worry, the same imagined outcome, because the brain flagged something as unresolved, incomplete, unsafe to set down. And so the mind returns again and again, the way a tongue finds a loose tooth. Not out of self-torture, out of the same instinct that makes you check 3 times whether you lock the door, trying to make things safe before it lets itself rest. The loop isn't pointless. It's your brain's attempt to find a conclusion it can finally file away. The problem is that some things don't resolve the way the brain wants them to. Relationships don't come with confirmation emails. The future doesn't reply. Other people's feelings aren't searchable. And so the loop runs and runs, looking for a resolution that isn't available through more thinking. What helps, gently, is not forcing the loop to stop. It's offering a different kind of resolution, the quiet acknowledgement that yes, this is uncertain, and I am still okay. The file doesn't have to close perfectly to be safe to put down. You can hold something open without living inside it. Your thoughts are not facts. This is one of the most important things in here, and it's worth saying slowly. Your thoughts are not facts. They are your mind's best guesses, shaped by your history, your fears, and a nervous system that sometimes processes the world through a filter that's about 40% worry and 60% but what if, though. When a thought says they're definitely angry at you, that is not a fact. That is a hypothesis in a trench coat pretending to be certainty. When a thought says this is going to go wrong, that is not a prophecy. That is anxiety dressed in its finest formal wear, pulling up a chair like it was invited. When a thought says you always do this or you never get it right, those words, always and never, are almost always dramatic exaggerations, and your brain uses them because extremes feel more certain, and certainty, even painful certainty, feels safer than ambiguity. But certainty isn't truth. Thoughts, even the loudest ones, are not the final word on reality. They are data. Incomplete, often fear-flavored data, passing through a mind that is doing its best with what it's got. You are allowed to notice a thought without agreeing with it. You are allowed to say, "Hello, I see you. I'm not going to fact-check you right now, but I'm also not taking you at face value." That's not denial. That's discernment. That's the beginning of being the boss of your own brain, rather than just the audience. Catastrophizing is a survival strategy that vastly outgrew its original job description. There is a thought pattern that shows up in nearly every overthinking mind. The breathtaking speed at which this might be a small problem becomes, and therefore everything is irreparably ruined, in about 4 seconds flat. The technical term is catastrophizing. I prefer to think of it as your brain's internal disaster preparedness department staging a full emergency drill without notifying anyone, complete with sirens, because that is really what it is. Your mind, bless its overachieving little heart, is trying to prepare you for the worst so you won't be caught off guard. If you've already imagined the worst, it can't surprise you. If you've already rehearsed your devastated response, you'll be ready. The logic is genuinely kind, even if the method is exhausting and also slightly unhinged. The problem is that living in a permanent state of worst-case scenario rehearsal doesn't protect you from anything. It just means you experience the catastrophe multiple times before it may never even happen. You pay the emotional cost in full, the grief, the dread, the preemptive shame, for something that exists only in the simulation. The real hard things, when and if they come, you will handle. You have handled things before. You don't have to pre-suffer them as training. Your body holds the thoughts your mind can't process. Have you ever noticed that prolonged stress doesn't just live in your head? Your jaw gets tight, so tight you sometimes wake up with it aching, wondering if you spent the night clenching in solidarity with your own anxiety. Your shoulders creep toward your ears across the course of the day, almost imperceptibly, until someone puts their hand on them and you realize they are approximately level with your actual ears. Your stomach feels unsettled in a way that has nothing to do with what you ate. Your breathing becomes shallow, high in the chest, without your permission. Your hands grip things harder than they need to. None of this is coincidence, and none of it is weakness. Your body and your nervous system are in constant conversation, and when the mind is overwhelmed, when the thoughts pile higher than the processing capacity, the body absorbs the overflow. Tension is a physical storage system for things that haven't had space to be felt or processed yet. This is why thinking your way out of anxiety rarely fully works. Because the stress isn't only in the thoughts, it's in the tissue. Which is why slow exhales, gentle movement, warmth, the weight of a blanket, these aren't luxuries or indulgences. They're messages your nervous system understands before words even arrive. Tonight, your only job is to give your body some of that. It's been waiting. Rest doesn't come easily to a mind that's learned to stay alert. For many overthinkers, rest doesn't feel natural. It feels like a vulnerability, like setting down something important before it's safe to. There's a part of the brain, particularly one shaped by anxiety or high-pressure environments, or experiences that taught you that relaxing too soon was a mistake, that equates vigilance with protection. If I stay alert, I can catch problems before they land. If I stay one step ahead, I won't be blindsided. If I keep thinking, surely at some point I will arrive at the thought that makes everything okay. The mind holds itself in a kind of permanent readiness, a low-level military posture, just in case. Just in case what, exactly, varies. But just in case. Here is the gentle truth about that. Rest is not the absence of protection. Rest is the thing that makes protection sustainable. A brain that never rests becomes less accurate, not more. Its threat detection starts misfiring, flagging safe things as dangerous, turning ordinary inconveniences into full crises. The alertness that was meant to keep you safe starts generating its own kind of danger. The danger of chronic exhaustion, of decisions made from a depleted state, of a system running so hot that eventually it simply cannot run at all. Rest isn't dropping your guard. Rest is maintenance. Rest is how you keep the whole thing running well enough to actually protect the things that matter. The need for certainty is one of the great engines of overthinking. Ask most overthinking minds what they're really searching for when the thoughts start cycling, And somewhere in the honest answer you'll find it: certainty. The guarantee that the decision was right. The reassurance that everything will be okay. The confirmation that they are liked, accepted, safe. Certainty feels like solid ground in a world that tends to shift, and the mind, very reasonably, goes looking for it. It rehearses outcomes. It prepares scripts for conversations that haven't happened yet. It reads between lines and beneath silences, looking for a signal that says, "You're fine, you're safe, stop worrying now please." It will not find that signal. Not because something is wrong, but because certainty is not something thought can manufacture, no matter how many hours you put into it. The world is genuinely uncertain. That is not a bug. That's the nature of being alive. And the peace overthinkers are searching for doesn't live inside a resolved question. It lives inside the slowly built trust that you can be in uncertainty and still be okay. That you can hold an open question without being swallowed by it. That's not giving up on understanding things. That's the kind of freedom that thinking, for all its power, cannot actually give you. But practice, accumulated gently over time, genuinely can. Silence can feel very loud when you're not used to it. For overthinkers, quiet doesn't automatically mean calm. Sometimes silence is just the removal of external noise, which allows the internal noise to become much more audible, like turning off the TV and realizing the appliances were always this loud. You sit down to rest and your brain, seizing the opportunity, cheerfully offers you the conversation from last Tuesday that you're still not sure landed right, the thing you forgot to do, a worry about next month, a memory from 6 years ago that is entirely irrelevant to the present but apparently still very much available, and completely without invitation. A highly specific cringe about something you said at a party in 2016. All at once. Your brain treats silence like a gift. Finally, it says, cracking its knuckles. Some time to catch up on the backlog. This is why many overthinkers fill their lives with constant stimulation. Music, podcasts, scrolling, anything to prevent that particular kind of quiet from arriving. Because the moment space opens, the queue presents itself. But here's the truth. The only way through the backlog is through it. Not by force, not by white-knuckling your way to stillness, but by gently practicing letting thoughts arrive without immediately grabbing hold of them. Like watching clouds from a window. They come, they go. You don't have to do anything about any of them. You have probably apologized for things that were never yours to apologize for. Overthinkers carry responsibility in unusual places. They absorb the moods of rooms the moment they walk in. They notice when someone seems slightly off and, in the absence of any evidence whatsoever, conclude that they probably caused it somehow. They replay conversations for hidden meaning and often arrive, through a remarkably efficient chain of anxiety logic, at the conclusion that whatever happened is at least partially their fault. This is connected to a deep, understandable desire to feel safe in relationships. If you can anticipate when someone is unhappy and trace it to something you did, then you have a form of control. You can fix it. You can apologize, adjust, smooth things over, secure the connection. The problem is that other people's moods have entire histories and interior landscapes that have nothing to do with you. Their bad days usually aren't caused by you. Their silences are usually about them. And the apology you're quietly preparing for a crime you likely didn't commit is a kind of self-erasure. Making yourself smaller to accommodate a discomfort that belongs to someone else entirely. You are allowed to exist without having an apology perpetually loaded and ready. Not every difficult moment in a room is addressed to you. Some of them are just the weather. Your inner critic is not your conscience. And it would very much like you to keep confusing the two, because that's how it stays in charge. Many overthinkers have a very loud, very articulate inner voice that narrates their life with impressive range. From that was slightly awkward all the way to you are fundamentally inadequate and everyone can see it, and has probably always been able to. And because this voice has been there so long, because it speaks in the first person and knows every detail of your life and sounds so utterly certain, it can be easy to mistake it for truth, for good judgment, for honesty. But the inner critic is not your conscience. Your conscience guides you toward values, toward kindness, repair, accountability. It says, that wasn't your best. Here's why. Here's what to do differently. Useful, specific, forward-moving. Your inner critic doesn't do that. It extrapolates. That wasn't your best becomes because you are not good enough becomes and you never will be becomes, and honestly, everybody already knows. That is not wisdom. That is cruelty wearing a very familiar voice that it borrowed so long ago you forgot it wasn't originally yours. You are allowed to disagree with it. You are allowed to say, I hear you, and also, absolutely not. The inner critic does not have the final word on who you are. Not even close. Being sensitive is a strength that has been treated, for a very long time, like an inconvenience. Sensitive people, people who feel things deeply, who pick up on everything, who are affected by the texture of a conversation and the energy in a room and the subtle shift in someone's tone before they've even registered it consciously, are often told, in direct and indirect ways, to dial it down. You're too much. You take things too personally. You feel things too hard. The world doesn't run at that frequency, and you need to learn to adjust. And so many sensitive people quietly internalize the message that their sensitivity is a flaw, something that slipped through quality control, something that needs to be managed and minimized and, ideally, hidden from anyone who might find it excessive. Here is what nobody tells you often enough. Sensitivity is not weakness that wasn't corrected in time. Sensitivity is a nervous system that is finely, remarkably attuned. And fine attunement, the ability to read a room, to understand people before they finish their sentence, to feel the weight of meaning in a gesture or a silence, is extraordinarily valuable. It makes you a better friend, a kinder partner, a deeper thinker, a more fully present human. The world needs people who feel things. Your sensitivity was never the problem. The problem was rooms and systems and people that didn't know what a gift it actually was. You are not your anxiety. This one is subtle, and it matters. You are a person who experiences anxiety. You are not anxiety itself. The fear, the racing thoughts, the tight chest, the catastrophizing, the hypervigilance, these are things that move through you. They are weather patterns in your nervous system. They are not your permanent identity, not who you are at the core of yourself, not your personality's defining characteristic. When we say, "I'm just an anxious person," and I completely understand why we say it, because when something is this constant it starts to feel structural. We can accidentally cement something temporary into something permanent. We make a state into a self. We make what I'm going through into what I am. But your anxiety is information. It tells you things about your history, your nervous system, your current stress load, the things that matter enough to frighten you. It's worth listening to. It is not worth handing over your whole identity to. Underneath the anxiety, underneath the loops and the replays and the 3 a.m. thoughts and the general sense of bracing, there is a person. Curious, capable, caring, resilient in ways you probably can't fully see from inside the hard chapters. That person is not the noise. That person is the one who gets to decide, slowly and imperfectly and at their own pace, what happens next. The middle-of-the-night version of your worries is not the most accurate version. There is a specific and fairly brutal phenomenon that overthinkers know intimately: the 3 a.m. magnification effect. Whatever the worry is, a relationship, a health concern, a financial stress, a thing you said to someone, it is measurably larger, more catastrophic, and completely unsolvable at 3 a.m. compared to 11 a.m. the next day. This is not your imagination. The brain's prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for perspective, context, and the reassuring thought this is actually manageable, is running on very low power in the middle of the night. What gets more airtime is the fear center, which runs 24 hours and never took a vacation in its life. And the fear center does not have a gift for nuance. So at 3 a.m., the email becomes a harbinger of professional ruin. The unresolved conversation becomes evidence of irreparable damage. The worry becomes a certainty. Here is what I want you to know. That version is not the most accurate version. It is the most dramatic version. Your 3 a.m. brain is not your wisest brain. Whatever it's telling you urgently needs solving right now can wait for morning, when the lights are back on, when the prefrontal cortex has had a coffee, when things are their actual size again. Write it down if you need to. Tell it you see it. And then, as best you can, let the night just be night. Asking what if is not the same as solving a problem. Overthinkers are practically fluent in what if. What if it goes wrong? What if they're upset with me? What if I made the wrong call? What if I'm already too late? What if this is the beginning of a much larger thing? These questions feel responsible. They feel like due diligence. They feel like the kind of careful thinking that a serious, thoughtful person does before acting. But what if spirals are not problem solving? They are anxiety running its favorite playlist on repeat. True problem solving is directional. It moves toward action, toward a plan, toward, and therefore, here is what I will actually do. What if loops are circular? They revisit the same fears in slightly different outfits, and they generate not answers but more questions, dressed up in the same mild panic. The useful version of what if has a second half. What if this goes wrong? And what would I do then? That's real thinking. That's your capable brain working in its best direction. But what if as a sentence that immediately births 10 more what ifs is anxiety asking you to dance a dance that has no final song? You are allowed to leave the dance floor. You don't have to accept every invitation. The people around you are probably not thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. I want to say this with all the warmth in the world. The audience in your head is much larger than the one that actually exists. Overthinking minds often carry what psychologists call the spotlight effect. The sense that other people are cataloguing your actions, replaying your stumbles, forming and updating opinions about your adequacy in real time. You said something slightly awkward in a meeting and spent the next 3 hours mentally editing it. You're certain everyone noticed. You're certain it has been discussed. Here's the glorious truth. They've already moved on to thinking about themselves. Because that's what humans do. Everyone else is the main character of their own very busy internal drama. Your stumble, your weird sentence, your 3-second pause that felt eternal to you. It passed through their awareness like a car driving past a window. They saw it and immediately thought about something else, almost certainly something that has nothing to do with you. The scrutiny you feel is largely self-applied. You can, gently and with great relief, begin to put some of it down. The performance review you've been dreading? The judges went home. You don't have to earn rest by completing everything first. There is a belief that lives very deep in many overthinking minds. So deep it doesn't feel like a belief. It just feels like how things work. That rest must be earned. That you are allowed to relax only once everything is handled, settled, sorted, addressed. Only once the list is done. The problem, of course, is that the list is never actually done. The world is a continuous list generator. There is always something that could technically be added, addressed, improved, prepared for before you stop. Rest becomes the horizon, always visible, always just slightly further than where you are. This is the rest as reward trap. And it means rest almost never fully comes, because the condition for it, completion, is never fully met. Here is the truth. Your need for rest is not conditional. It is not something you unlock by being productive enough. Your body requires rest because it is a body, full stop, end of requirements list. You are allowed to stop before everything is finished. You are allowed to be tired before you've technically proved you deserve a tired body by working sufficiently hard. Rest is not the prize at the finish line. Rest is the fuel that makes the journey possible in the first place. Your memory for difficult things is not a flaw, but you are absolutely allowed to edit the playlist. Overthinking minds often have remarkable emotional memory. Not just this happened memory, full sensory, high definition. You are basically their memory. The exact tone of voice. The weight of a silence. The way a particular moment felt in the chest. And this memory tends to surface without permission, especially during the quiet moments you are actually trying to enjoy. There you are, minding your business, and suddenly your brain has loaded a very vivid replay of something that happened 4 years ago, complete with the original feelings, fresh as the day they were made. This isn't masochism. This isn't weakness. It's a nervous system that marked something as important and stored it in high definition so it would be available for reference. The problem is that high definition storage can sometimes trigger automatic, uninvited playback. And every replay brings the feelings with it. Not softened, not processed, just immediate. Here's what I want you to know. You don't have to watch every replay your brain cues up. You are allowed to acknowledge a difficult memory. I see you, that was hard. And then, gently, redirect. You are not obligated to sit in the screening room every time. You are the DJ. And sometimes, you get to skip the track. Letting go is not the same as giving up. This is one that overthinking minds genuinely struggle with, and for understandable reasons. Letting go of a worry feels like being unprepared. Letting go of how something should have gone feels like surrendering to a bad outcome. Letting go of an idea of how things should be feels like abandoning something that matters. And so the mental grip stays tight, because tightening it feels like caring. If I stop thinking about this, does it mean I don't care anymore? No. Letting go is the recognition that continued mental gripping does not change outcomes. It just exhausts the hands. Continuing to rehearse the worry doesn't prevent the feared thing. It just costs you the present moment, which is the only place you actually live. You can let go of a worry and still care about the thing the worry was about. You can release the grip of a thought and still be responsible, thoughtful, loving. Letting go isn't indifference. It's faith, quiet, hard-won faith in your own ability to respond to things when they actually arrive, rather than trying to fight them in your head before they get here. That's not avoidance. That's wisdom. Comparison will always make you feel behind. The overthinking mind has a genuine talent for comparison, and we happen to live in an era that offers unlimited comparison material at all times, in high resolution, available the moment you pick up your phone. Other people seem so settled, so purposeful, so certain about who they are and where they're going. Their lives appear to be running on a competent, well-organized timeline, while yours sometimes feels like it was planned by someone who kept losing the notes. But here is the thing that comparison always leaves out. You are looking at their exterior, curated, selected, lit well, and comparing it to your interior, which is messy and doubtful and contains yesterday's cringe and all your private fears. That is not a fair comparison. That's not even a comparison. You're comparing their highlight reel to your raw footage, including the bloopers. Nobody's raw footage looks like a highlight reel. The most composed seeming people you know have 3 a.m. thoughts too. They replay conversations. They wonder if they're doing it right. The only meaningful comparison is you to your past self. And I'd be willing to bet that person has grown more than you've been giving them credit for. Your nervous system is not overreacting. It's over-remembering. When anxiety shows up in situations that don't seem threatening on the surface, meeting someone new, making a phone call, receiving feedback, navigating a mild conflict, it can feel like your reactions are disproportionate. Like your calibration is off. Like you're making a big deal of something that isn't a big deal. And why can't you just be normal about it? But what's usually happening is not that your nervous system is malfunctioning. It's that it's doing its job, just with old files. It's responding to the present situation through the lens of past experiences that were difficult, painful, or genuinely unsafe. The body keeps records, very thorough records, and it cross-references current situations against past ones with impressive efficiency. This feels like that thing. It decides, and the response activates before you've even consciously registered what's happening. Your anxiety in those moments is not irrational. It is historical. And history doesn't respond to logic. You can't reason it out of its conclusions. It responds, gradually, to new evidence. The repeated experience of being in a hard situation and surviving it, of the feared thing not happening, of the body slowly learning that here, this place, this situation, is actually safe. You are allowed to feel two things at once. Overthinkers often try to resolve emotional ambivalence by thinking it into a single, defensible feeling. They love someone but also feel frustrated with them. So which is the real feeling? They want the change but are also afraid of it. So do they actually want it? They're excited and nervous simultaneously. So what are they actually experiencing? The mind, very helpfully, tries to sort this out by analysis. If I can just identify the true feeling, I'll know what to do. But feelings are not logical propositions. They don't follow the law of non-contradiction, which apparently was never properly explained to them. You can miss someone and feel relieved they're gone. You can want something badly and dread having it. You can be proud of yourself and disappointed at the same time. These are not mutually exclusive, no matter how much the analytical brain insists they should be. These aren't contradictions. They're the full, honest, somewhat inconvenient truth of being a complex person in a complex world. You don't have to resolve the ambivalence before you're allowed to move. You don't have to pick one feeling and argue the others out of the room. You can be complicated. That's not a problem. That's depth. The urge to reread, recheck, and basically audit your own messages is anxiety looking for certainty through communication surveillance. Many overthinkers have a very particular relationship with sending things. You craft the message carefully. You review it. Maybe you review it again. You send it. And then, immediately, some part of you wants it back so you can look at it one more time. Was the tone right? Was that exclamation point too much? Or not enough? Did that sentence read as passive-aggressive? Was there a version of this that was better? You watch the typing indicator with heart rate elevation that is technically disproportionate to the stakes. You interpret the timing of the response for relationship information. You analyze the exact words of the reply. All of this, every last bit of it, is anxiety trying to eliminate relational uncertainty through information. Because if you can just craft the message perfectly enough, maybe you can guarantee safety in the relationship. Maybe you can prevent misunderstanding. Maybe certainty lives somewhere in the reread. But it doesn't. No message is analyzable enough to eliminate relational risk, because people are not puzzles that yield to sufficient scrutiny. You can send the message and put the phone down. You can let it go. That is, remarkably, an option available to you. Asking for help is not evidence of inadequacy. It is, if anything, evidence of emotional intelligence. For many overthinkers, the internal bar for "okay, I can ask for help now" is set extraordinarily high. Help is for situations that are genuinely, objectively, verifiably beyond managing. Short of complete collapse, you should be handling it yourself. Thank you. This belief, that needing support is a failure of self-sufficiency, is one of the most quietly exhausting things a person can carry. It turns every difficulty into a solo mission. It means that even while drowning, you're presenting as a perfectly composed swimmer, because asking for the life ring feels like admitting something unacceptable. But humans are not built for solitary experience. We are deeply, biologically wired for connection and co-regulation. The nervous system literally calms in the presence of someone who is genuinely, safely with us. Two nervous systems in real connection regulate each other in ways that solo thought simply cannot replicate. Asking for help isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's knowing what you need and being willing to reach for it. The people who care about you, they're not waiting to discover you're inadequate. They're waiting to be allowed in. Not every feeling needs to be understood before it's allowed to exist. Overthinkers tend to treat their emotions like assignments. A feeling arrives, sadness, anxiety, a low mood with no obvious cause, grief that doesn't quite have a name, and the mind immediately opens its notebook. Where did this come from? What does it mean? What is the appropriate response to it? Is this proportionate? The analysis is the mind's attempt to make the feeling legible, to translate it into something manageable before allowing it in. But feelings don't always come with documentation. Some are older than language. Some belong to parts of you that words can't reach. Some are simply the body's honest response to life, with no narrative required and no permission form needed. Requiring a full explanation before a feeling is allowed to exist means many feelings get quietly suppressed, which doesn't make them go away. It makes them louder later, showing up in ways that feel disconnected from their source because the source was never acknowledged. You are allowed to feel something without knowing why. You are allowed to be moved without being able to explain it to anyone, including yourself. You are allowed to feel it fully and let it move through. Sleep is not just rest. It's your brain doing the filing, the repair, and a solid amount of emotional processing that it didn't get to during the day. Overthinkers and sleep have a complicated relationship. The body is exhausted. The brain has decided this is the perfect moment to address 17 outstanding items. The room is dark and quiet. The brain has interpreted this as ideal conditions for a full retrospective of the week, including moments that could use additional analysis and a preview of upcoming potential problems. You lie down and instead of drifting, you find yourself drafting a reply to a conversation, replaying something from this morning with the useful benefit of hindsight you didn't have at the time, and suddenly, vividly, aware of something you need to remember to do on Thursday that you absolutely cannot forget. What's worth understanding? Sleep isn't just a pause. It's active neurological maintenance. Your brain consolidates memories during deep sleep. It processes the emotional residue of the day. It clears metabolic waste that accumulates during waking hours. It essentially runs the overnight backup. When sleep is disrupted by an overthinking mind, all of that gets postponed, and tomorrow begins with yesterday's emotional backlog still in the queue. Your brain genuinely, sincerely needs you to sleep. The gentlest path there is not fighting the thoughts. It's making the transition slow, warm, and safe. Gently, like walking a tired child to bed, not with force, with tenderness. Feeling like a burden is a thought that has been mistaken for a fact for far too long. Many people who overthink carry a quiet, persistent background belief that they are too much, too emotional, too complicated, too needy for the amount of need they have. And so they edit themselves. They manage their presentation carefully. They minimize, absorb, make themselves easier to be around. They wait until they are very, very sure before they let anyone see what they're actually carrying. This belief that your full self is a burden is almost always a story that was learned somewhere earlier in life. Something absorbed from an environment that genuinely couldn't hold all of you. A message that your needs were too much, too loud, too frequent. And it got internalized not as an opinion about that environment's limits, but as a fact about your nature. But it isn't a fact. It is a learned story. And the difference between a fact and a learned story is that stories can be examined, questioned, rewritten, slowly, with gentler evidence. The right people, the ones genuinely in your corner, are not diminished by your fullness. They are richer for it. You are not a burden to them. You are a whole person they care about. And those two things are very, very different. Your brain's threat detection system runs about 400 milliseconds faster than your rational thinking, which means that by the time you've consciously decided how to feel about something, your nervous system has already voted, submitted its report, and started taking action. The fear center, the amygdala, is a very fast, very decisive, not always nuanced processor. It scans incoming information, makes a quick safety assessment, and dispatches a response before your thoughtful, contextualizing prefrontal cortex has even had a chance to weigh in. This is why you can't always think your way out of anxiety in the moment. The reaction happened upstream of logic. By the time reason arrives, the nervous system is already in motion. This is also why being reassured, being told, calmly and rationally, that you're fine and there's nothing to worry about, often doesn't quite land the way it should. Because the part that's afraid didn't read the memo. It's not receiving information through the rational channel. It responds to a different kind of communication. The body, the breath, the slow accumulation of experiences of being okay. Not someone told me I'd be okay. But I was in that situation and I was okay. That's the language it understands. And that understanding builds, slowly, with time. You are probably harder on yourself than you would ever dream of being on anyone you love. Pause for a moment and run this experiment. Think of someone you genuinely care about, a friend, a sibling, someone whose well-being actually matters to you. Now imagine they made the exact mistake you've been replaying. They sent the awkward email. They stumbled over their words. They made the imperfect decision. They said the thing that came out slightly wrong. What would you say to them? Almost certainly, something kind. Something that acknowledged the difficulty without inflating the failure. That happens to everyone. You did your best. One moment doesn't define you. I still think you're great. You would give them perspective. You would give them grace. You would be exactly the kind of person you would want in your corner. Now compare that to the voice that addresses you in the same situation. For most overthinkers, the contrast is stark and honestly a little heartbreaking. The internal voice runs on a completely different and significantly harsher standard. It doesn't offer perspective. It extrapolates. It stays. Compassion flows outward freely, turns inward and hits a wall. This asymmetry is worth noticing, because the self you are so hard on is also a person, doing their best, with imperfect information, in circumstances that are sometimes genuinely difficult. That person deserves exactly the kindness you'd give without hesitation to anyone else. Your worth is not a performance metric. At some point, and for many people this happens early, before they had the language to question it, a message got absorbed. Your value is connected to your output. What you produce, what you achieve, how useful, capable, impressive you are in any given context. Your right to take up space feels conditional on demonstrating that you deserve to be there. And so the mind becomes a performance tracking system. Am I doing enough? Am I contributing enough? Am I achieving enough to justify the amount of space I'm taking up? Am I enough? That last question lives underneath all the others. And the answer, when it arrives not from the performance tracking system but from somewhere quieter and older, is this: yes, you are enough. Not because of what you produce, not because of what you offer or how well you perform, because you exist, because you are here and alive and trying, in all the ways available to you, with all the resources you have right now. Your worth is not a score you have to maintain. It is not something you earn more of by working harder. It simply is. It has always been. The work is not to earn it. The work is learning, slowly, imperfectly, to believe it. Anxiety lies about urgency with remarkable consistency and absolutely no shame. This is one of its best and most overused tricks, the manufactured emergency. The thought arrives with a timestamp attached. This must be addressed immediately. There is no time. This cannot wait. Everything else must stop until this is resolved. And the mind, responding to that urgency signal, enters crisis mode. It drops everything. It marshals its full processing power toward the worry. It treats the thought like a fire alarm that must be answered right now, which is, of course, exactly what anxiety was going for. The thing is, most of the urgent things anxiety presents are not urgent. They feel urgent. There's a genuine physiological sensation of urgency, a tight chest, an accelerated heart rate, the sense that something must happen immediately. But feeling urgent and being urgent are different things. Genuine urgency involves a situation that requires immediate action. Anxiety urgency is fear applying a deadline to something that doesn't actually have one. You are allowed to question the timestamp. You are allowed to ask, does this actually require action right now? Or is anxiety putting a bow of emergency on something that can wait? The test is simple. If I did nothing about this thought for 10 minutes, what would actually happen? In almost every case, nothing. The situation would be identical, and you would have your 10 minutes back. The need to be understood is one of the most human things there is. And it's okay that it runs strong in you. Many overthinkers carry a deep, sometimes aching need to be truly known, not just liked, not just tolerated, but genuinely understood. To have someone see the actual interior of your experience and respond with recognition. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. I see you. This need gets labeled as needy, sometimes, or clingy, or too much. It isn't. It's one of the fundamental human drives, the desire for attunement, for the experience of being felt and seen by another person who is actually fully present with you. That need doesn't shrink when it goes unmet. It becomes a quiet ache. And overthinkers, who often have rich, complex inner worlds that don't always fully translate into the words available, can feel this longing especially keenly, because the gap between what you experience internally and what you feel able to share is often wider than for most. If you carry this need strongly, it makes sense. It is not dysfunction. It is humanity. And the right people, the ones worth letting all the way in, they will be able to meet you there. Not always perfectly, but enough. Rumination is different from reflection. Reflection is productive. Rumination is a spin cycle that never reaches the end of the program. This distinction matters because both look similar from the outside. Returning to past events, thinking about things that have already happened. But they function completely differently in the mind. Reflection looks at something, makes meaning, draws out whatever learning is available, and moves forward carrying that learning. It has direction. It arrives somewhere. Rumination looks at something, circles it for evidence of inadequacy or failure, re-experiences the associated pain without gaining new information, and then comes back tomorrow to do the same thing again. It is, if we're being fully accurate, your mind playing the same track on repeat and calling it processing. The key question to ask when you're revisiting a past event: am I learning something new, or am I just feeling bad about it again? If you've already understood what happened, already felt what needed to be felt, already extracted whatever insight was in there, and you're simply looping back to feel the guilt or shame or regret again, that's rumination. And you are allowed to redirect. You've done the reflection. The lesson has been received. You can put it down now. You have survived 100% of your worst days so far. This is mathematically verifiable, and I think it's worth letting it land. Every day that felt unendurable, every wave of anxiety that felt like it would never recede, every night that felt endless, every moment that felt like genuinely too much. You got through all of them. The thought that said I can't get through this was wrong every single time. Because here you are, on the other side of every worst day you have had so far. And I know that past survival doesn't automatically make the next hard thing feel manageable. I know the knowledge I've survived before doesn't always translate into present courage when you're in the middle of something that feels impossible. But it is evidence. Real, reliable evidence. that you are more resilient than anxiety tells you, that you have capacity that the hard moments make invisible but does not eliminate, that the part of you that keeps going, keeps waking up, keeps trying, keeps showing up for the next day even when the previous one was terrible, that part is genuinely, quietly extraordinary. You have been through hard, harder than you expected. You are still here. Your story is still being written. Overthinkers have a particular tendency to treat their own narratives as already concluded. I'm someone who always does this. I'm the person who can't handle that. I've been this way my whole life and I'll always be this way. These frozen narratives feel like self-knowledge, like clear-eyed honesty about who you are. But they're often self-limiting beliefs dressed up as facts. They transform patterns into permanent identities. They take a chapter, sometimes a genuinely difficult one, and declare it the whole book, including the ending. But here is the truth about humans. We change. Not always quickly. Not always in straight lines. Not always in the ways we planned or on the timeline we'd have chosen. But the person you are right now is a work in progress, not a finished product. A story in the middle of being told. And you do not make final judgments about a story from the middle. You don't know how this ends yet. The person who is still learning to be kinder to their own mind, still figuring out how to rest, still practicing trust and release, that person has chapters coming that they cannot yet read. And they will surprise you. I genuinely believe that. Doing one small thing when you're overwhelmed is enough. More than enough. Anxiety has a very effective way of expanding the scale of what feels required. The problems multiply and interconnect, and each one leads to 3 others. And suddenly the scope of what needs addressing before you're allowed to breathe feels genuinely uncountable. And the mind, faced with that mountain, sometimes freezes entirely. Because where do you even begin when the beginning seems to be everywhere at once? The answer is anywhere. One thing. One small, specific, completable thing. One email sent. One room tidied. One phone call made. One breath taken deliberately, all the way down. When the system is overwhelmed, the most effective action isn't trying to tackle everything simultaneously. It's doing one thing completely, with your full attention, and then noticing that you did it. The noticing matters. The overwhelmed brain desperately needs evidence that action is possible, that things can actually move, that the mountain can be approached. Not conquered in one go. Approached. One step. Just the next one. That's all that's ever actually required. The next step. Not the whole mountain. The version of you that's struggling right now is just as worthy of love as the version that's thriving. This one matters, so I want to say it carefully. Many overthinkers carry a belief, often below conscious awareness, that love and belonging are conditional on being okay, on functioning well, on presenting as the capable, composed, managing it version of yourself. That people's warmth toward you is predicated on you appearing to have it together. And so when you're not okay, when you're anxious and exhausted and not managing gracefully at all, there's a pulling back, a hiding, a performance of wellness, even in private, because showing the struggling version feels like risking the thing you most want to keep. But that struggling version, the anxious, tired, in the thick of it one who isn't performing any version of okay, is not less deserving. They are, if anything, the version most in need of care, and most deserving of it. You do not have to earn care by being well. You do not have to perform okayness to deserve love. You are allowed to be in a hard chapter and still be loved. Fully, completely, without asterisks or conditions. Perfectionism is anxiety wearing a very respectable blazer. Here's the thing about perfectionism. It presents as a commitment to excellence. It wants to be seen as discipline, high standards, the mark of someone who cares deeply about quality. And those things can be part of it. But underneath the blazer, at the core, perfectionism is usually anxiety's strategy for avoiding judgment. The belief, running quietly in the background, is that if something is flawless enough, if you are flawless enough, you can be protected from criticism, from rejection, from the terrifying vulnerability of having done your actual best and having it found wanting. Perfection as armor, perfection as certainty, perfection as the thing that finally makes you safe from the discomfort of being evaluated. The problem is that the goalposts of perfection are, by design, always just slightly out of reach. Because if you reached them, the armor would be complete, and there would be nothing left to reach for, and then you'd have to sit with the vulnerability of being done. So there's always one more revision. One more standard to meet. One more way it could be better. You are allowed to be done. You are allowed to say, this is good enough. I gave it what I had. And good enough is, genuinely, actually, enough. Anxiety is often loudest right before something good. This is worth knowing because it can be profoundly disorienting when you don't know it. You make the brave choice toward something meaningful, toward growth, toward a life that actually fits who you are. And instead of feeling the relief or excitement you expected, you feel worse. The anxiety spikes. The doubt intensifies. The intrusive thoughts start cataloging every possible reason this was a mistake. And it can feel, convincingly, like a sign that you've gone wrong. Like the anxiety is trying to warn you. But what's often happening is not a warning. It's your nervous system recalibrating to unfamiliar terrain. Change, even deeply wanted change, even the change you've been hoping for, is uncertainty. And the anxious brain has a complicated, frankly difficult relationship with uncertainty, even the good kind. So it protests. It runs its drills. It tries to pull you back to the known, even if the known was making you unhappy, because the known at least had a known risk profile. The anxiety spiking before something new and brave is often not a red light. It's often just friction. The sensation of becoming a slightly different size. You can move toward what you want even while afraid. Those two things can coexist. You are not alone in this. I want to say this clearly, because isolation is one of anxiety's most effective and cruelest strategies. It whispers, convincingly, that your experience is uniquely, specifically wrong. That other people don't lie awake like this. Don't replay conversations like this. Don't carry this particular kind of exhaustion that no one can quite see. That there is something privately, specifically broken about you that sets you apart from the rest of the apparently much calmer world. It is a lie. A convincing one, because the internal experience is so intimate and so specific that it genuinely feels like yours alone. But the loops, the replays, the hypervigilance, the need for certainty, the 3 a.m. magnification, the weight of feeling everything at volume. These are shared by millions of people, quietly and invisibly, often while presenting a perfectly composed exterior. You are not alone in this, not even remotely. And knowing that, really absorbing it, in the body, not just the brain, changes something. Because you can't be ashamed of something that is part of the shared human experience. You don't have to hide something that so many people are quietly carrying alongside you, in their own particular way, in their own particular rooms. Distraction isn't always avoidance. Sometimes it's just rest, and your brain should mind its own business about it. Overthinkers can develop a tense relationship with leisure. On one hand, something light and enjoyable genuinely helps. It gives the nervous system a break from the constant workload. On the other hand, the inner critic tends to categorize any pleasant, non-productive activity as avoidance. Running away, not dealing with things, being irresponsible. And so even rest gets audited. Should I be doing something more useful? Is this escapism? Is this healthy, or am I using this to avoid? The irony of resting from anxiety by becoming anxious about resting is not lost on me. But here's the distinction that matters. The problem isn't distraction. The problem is chronic, exclusive distraction, using it as a permanent substitute for ever processing anything, a way to stay forever upstream of the feelings. That's different from a comedy show after a hard day, an hour of music you love, a walk with no agenda. These aren't failures. These are maintenance. The difference between healthy rest and avoidance isn't what you're doing. It's whether you're still able, when it matters, to turn toward things. Rest actually makes that more possible, not less. The coping strategies you've developed have been protecting you more than you know. Whatever patterns you've developed to manage, the over-preparation, the hypervigilance, the constant scanning, the way you read rooms and monitor yourself and anticipate things before they happen, these are not just symptoms. They are strategies. They were built, often early, in response to environments or experiences that were genuinely unpredictable or difficult. And in those contexts, they worked. They helped you stay safer. They helped you anticipate, manage, navigate situations that required that level of attention. They were, in the best sense, your mind doing exactly what a mind is supposed to do, protecting you. It's only now, in situations where those same threat levels don't exist, where the original danger is gone but the protective system is still running, that they start to cost more than they give. The goal is not to look back at those strategies with shame. The goal is to recognize that they arose for real reasons, that they did real work, and that you can now, slowly, without self-judgment, without forcing it, begin to learn what it feels like to not need them quite so much. Because you've outgrown the emergency that required them. Peace is possible. Not permanent, not perfect, not some distant enlightened state where nothing ever bothers you again, but genuinely, actually possible. I want to be careful here because the overthinking mind is a very good detector of overselling. So let me be precise. I am not promising the complete and permanent elimination of anxiety. I am not telling you that you will never have another looping thought or another difficult night or another moment when the fear gets loud. What I am telling you is that the relationship between you and your anxiety can change. The grip can loosen. The loops can get shorter. The space between you and the thoughts can grow, enough that you can observe them rather than being inside them, enough that you can sometimes choose your response rather than just react. Peace is possible in the way that good weather is possible, not guaranteed, not permanent, but real and returnable to after the storm. It comes from accumulating evidence. It comes from the nervous system slowly, through experience, learning that it is safe enough to rest. That it doesn't need to run at emergency capacity all the time. That the present moment is not actually dangerous. You can learn that. You are already learning it, even now. You are not what happened to you. You are what you do with what happened to you. The experiences that shaped how your nervous system responds, the ones that taught it to stay alert, to brace, to hold rather than release, they are real. Their impact is real. They are part of your story and they deserve acknowledgement. But they are not the conclusion of your story. You are not reducible to the chapters that hurt. You are also the resilience that formed alongside the difficulty, the depth of empathy that grew from having felt things hard, the capacity for understanding that comes from having been in it. You are all of it, the wound and the healing, the hard chapters and everything being written right now. And you are still the author. Every small choice toward your own well-being, every time you practice a little more gentleness toward yourself, every time you choose rest over punishment, every time you offer yourself one fraction of the kindness you'd give to anyone else, those are the choices writing the next chapter, not the past. You're doing it right now. In fact, by being here, your gentlest, quietest days are not wasted. They just look different from the outside. There is a specific guilt that overthinkers carry about soft, slow, low-output days. Days where the visible productivity was minimal. Days where the world was not moved and the list was not significantly shortened and the output, if audited, would not look impressive. These days feel like failure, like stagnation, like falling behind the invisible version of yourself that's always apparently doing more. But quiet days are doing something. Something that doesn't show, but matters enormously. They are allowing the nervous system to come down. They are giving the brain space to process without simultaneously having to produce. They are the fallow period that makes future growth possible, because nothing grows continuously without rest, and anyone who tells you otherwise is selling something. Not every day can be a summit. Most days are the path. And the path, even when it's flat and quiet and looks unremarkable from any external vantage point, is still carrying you forward. Quiet days are not wasted. They are the maintenance schedule. They are part of the becoming, just as much as the dramatic ones. Your healing doesn't have to look like anyone else's. We live in a world with a lot of opinions about how healing should be done. The right kind of therapy, the right modality, the correct number of meditation minutes, the proper morning routine, the approved combination of breath work and journaling and cold water exposure and whatever else. And if the popular prescription doesn't work for you, if the method that apparently transforms everyone else's nervous system leaves yours unimpressed or worse, it can feel like you're failing at healing, like you're not doing it right. But there is no one path. Your nervous system is yours alone, with its specific history and sensitivities and particular language of safety and danger. What deeply soothes one person can activate another. What works in one season can stop working in the next. The only meaningful question is, does this actually help me? Not, is this the approved thing? Not, does this have the right credentials? Not, will this make me sound like I'm taking this seriously at dinner parties? Does it help? Your healing will look like yours. That's not a problem. That's permission. The present moment is the only place rest can actually happen. This sounds simple. For overthinking minds, it is genuinely not. Because the mind is so often elsewhere, forward in the future, rehearsing, preparing, imagining how things will go, or back in the past, replaying, analyzing, wondering what would have been different. The present moment is frequently just a transit point, passed through quickly on the way between the past the mind keeps reviewing and the future it keeps rehearsing. But rest cannot happen in the future or the past. It can only happen here. This breath, this sensation, this very moment, exactly as it is. Mindfulness, at its most basic, stripped of all the wellness culture packaging, is simply the practice of arriving here, not forcing calm, not manufacturing peace, just noticing what is currently actually happening, the sound of the room, the weight of your body, the temperature of the air, the ordinary, immediate, unremarkable texture of right now. These things are the portal, and the present moment, for all its quietness, is the only place your nervous system can actually rest. Not once things are resolved, not after the worries are finished. Now, you don't have to travel anywhere. You just have to arrive. You deserve to take up space, not earn space, not conditional space, not the space left over after everyone else has had their fill. Full, unconditional, unapologetic space. This might be the hardest truth in here to actually believe, not to understand intellectually, but to really inhabit. Because space-taking has often come loaded with risk. The fear that being fully yourself, fully visible, fully present, fully occupying the space you're in, will prove too much. That you will be found excessive and that excessive people get abandoned. And so the practice of making yourself smaller, quieter, easier, less needy, more accommodating, less obvious, becomes the survival strategy. The way to stay safe in the room. But here's the thing. The people who taught you to make yourself smaller were not reliable authorities on what you're actually allowed to be. They were working from their own limitations. The right people, the contexts that are genuinely right for you, the relationships that are built for your actual dimensions, they have room for all of you. Your thoughts, your needs, your feelings, your voice, your complicated interior, the full length and width of who you are. You were not designed to live at minimum capacity. You were meant to be here, fully, taking up exactly as much space as you actually take up, which is the right amount. Even a little relief counts. And I mean it. It genuinely counts. Healing doesn't always arrive in dramatic, identifiable waves. Sometimes it arrives as an almost imperceptible softening. The anxiety's grip was fractionally looser today than yesterday. Sleep came a little more easily. A thought was briefly, slightly kinder than thoughts usually are. A breath went a little deeper. A moment felt just a fraction more manageable. These small movements are real. They accumulate. The mind that only tracks dramatic progress will miss this entirely. Will look at the small softening and say, "That doesn't count, that's not enough, I should be further along." But the mind that learns to notice and value even a little relief is learning something that will sustain it for the long haul. It's learning to track the direction of movement, not just the destination. And direction matters enormously. A little less anxious than yesterday is the actual path. It is not a consolation prize. It is not almost healing. It is healing. You are allowed to count it. You are allowed to feel good about it. You should. Tonight, you have done enough. Whatever today held, whether it was productive or quiet, difficult or manageable, forward-moving or one of those days where just getting through to the other side was the whole achievement. Tonight, right now, you are not required to do more. The day is complete. The thoughts that want to arrive with their outstanding items and their retrospective notes and their previews of tomorrow, they can wait. They can be acknowledged and gently set aside. You have done enough for today. You showed up. You continued. You made it to the other side of today. And that is not nothing. That is, actually, everything that was asked of you. Tomorrow will ask its own things, and you will meet them when they get here. But tonight, the assignment is this: let your body be heavy. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let whatever has been held today, in your muscles, your chest, the back of your neck, the place behind your eyes where the tension lives, let it begin, slowly, to release. You don't have to solve anything tonight. You don't have to prepare or analyze or do one more thing. Tonight, you have done enough. You are enough. And you can rest. You can actually, genuinely, finally rest. If these gentle journeys feel meaningful to you, you're welcome to stay connected. Leave a comment and subscribe. It helps other restless minds find their way here too. I'll see you soon. May your rest be deep, and your dreams be gentle.